I don't want to alarm you. Do you remember a TV show we used to watch together? It was called
The Pink Pig?
Hey, thanks for stopping by. So I saw the TV Glow, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's a really, I think, a special movie. It's a movie I've rarely stopped thinking about since I saw it. I really encourage you to seek it out. Now, saying this is not a movie for everyone, and it's probably not a movie for everyone, while that's accurate, it really doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, take the biggest movie of the year, right? Deadpool and Wolverine probably made all the money, filled all the seats, highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, and there are still, I'm sure, plenty of people out there who won't enjoy it for any number of valid reasons, or it's not for them, or something like that. But honestly, this movie is probably more niche than most, both from like a structure standpoint and from a content standpoint. But I really encourage you to seek it out if you haven't already. If you have seen it and didn't connect with it for some reason, maybe I can convince you to give it another look. And if you have seen it and you have enjoyed it, well, sit back and let's bask in our shared good taste. I will fully admit that at first I didn't lock on to what the filmmakers were going for here. A lot of that, I'm sure, is my fault. But I believe a lot of the blame, and I still believe a lot of the blame, lies squarely at the feet of the movie's trailer and its current marketing, which both do it a huge disservice. I didn't know much about this movie before I saw it. I knew it was an A24 project, so right off the bat, immediately, it had my curiosity, at least, because I'm that guy. I like a lot of A24 stuff, usually at least interesting in checking out most of it. I'd heard some positive buzz, but I didn't really know too much beyond that. So I was really excited when I saw that it was going to be streaming on Max. And before it released, the trailer was available. Now, if all one had to go on was that trailer, one, in this case me, would easily think that this is a horror movie. It is not a horror movie. It is a lot of things. It is a coming of age story in a lot of ways. It's an allegory. It's a tragedy, beautifully told. And it's kind of a cautionary tale as well. But it is not a horror movie. Now, Max itself isn't helping much either. It's categorized on its service as a horror movie. It's included in its October Halloween horror movie collection, but it is not a goddamn horror movie. I mean, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, how you would categorize this movie, but a horror movie it is not. So, enough about what it isn't. All right, let's talk about what it is. And we'll get into some spoilers here. I'll try not to get into too much in case you haven't seen it or are considering watching it, which again, I highly encourage you to do. But the basic plot follows Owen, played by Justice Smith, and Maddie, played by Brigitte Lundy Payne. They meet in high school and they bond over this very Buffy the Vampire Slayer-esque TV show called The Pink Opaque. Owen lives in a sort of a strict household, and he is not allowed to stay up late enough to watch the episodes live. So Maddie provides him with VHS tapes of the episodes, and at some point in their relationship, Maddie disappears. And when she returns years later, she starts telling Owen about this experience she had being buried alive at her request, and basically reborn when she comes out of the ground, and tries to convince him to do the same. And his decision whether to do so winds up having, devastating consequences. Now, because I was still under the impression that this was a horror movie, again, mistaken impression, I think, I was taking most of the things in the film very literally. I was waiting for that big horror payoff and when the characters were discussing being buried alive, and one starts showing, to the audience anyway, signs of illness and decay. I was waiting for that big reveal that everything was a hallucination or a dream or, a near-death experience while they were underground, and, like, go rescue them. Oh, they're going to be, taken out of the ground, and that, again, that big reveal, which of course never came because it's not there. And then the movie does end super abruptly, which just added to my confusion. So what do? You go to the YouTubes. So I went to the YouTubes. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan of this YouTube phenomenon. You'll see the thumbnails. Movie X, ending explained. Because I think film-splaining things a lot of times comes across as kind of patronizing in a lot of cases. Sometimes you'll see videos, explaining the endings of movies that aren't necessarily all that confusing or ambiguous. In this case, I really just wanted to see a good review or two and field some second opinions, just kind of see if I could sort of latch on to what was going on here. And when I did, things became a lot clearer. I liked what I saw. I'm not sure what I saw. Maybe I should hear from somebody to get their thoughts and see if that makes some sense and see if I can sort of jibe with what's happening here. So like I said, the whole movie is basically like one big set of metaphors and not necessarily to be taken literally scene by scene. When I did check all of this out, I took away this notion of, it's a movie about discovering and embracing something about yourself that otherwise might remain hidden, allowing yourself to become the person you're meant to be, in a way, again, third act of the movie, burying your former self and allowing your true self to rise up, to be reborn in a sense. And that idea is represented here in often, dramatic fashion. One character, rips themselves open to reveal this hidden glow within themselves. And no, it is still not a horror movie. This movie is presented very much through the prism of the LGBTQ plus trans queer experience for sure. But I think the underlying theme is broad enough to resonate with an even wider audience. It's a plea to not deny yourself, whatever it is inside of you that makes you special, that gives you some kind of unique identity, whether that's a sexual identity or a gender identity, or, a creative one, an artistic one. Whatever it is, it's a push to not deny yourself becoming or being the person you're meant to be by, conforming to what, your family's expectations or society's expectations are for you at the risk of decay and misery. There's a portion where, Owen's on his own and, is all proud of himself for, having the house and the flat screen TV and, the family and everything like that, even though the longer he stays in that situation, the more he begins to wither and die. I mean, it's pretty heavy stuff, but it is so beautifully presented that it is just absolutely hypnotic. Now, I am a sucker for any film with, really great cinematography that makes good use of light and color, and this does it remarkably well. Cinematographer Eric Yu and writer-director Jane Schoenbrunn have done some amazing work here. The whole movie uses this wonderful color palette of pinks and purples and blues, and there are just a ton of really great shot selections. This neon bathed chunk inside Owen's Dead End arcade job, and early on there's a walk down the high school corridor, and it's flanked by these ironic motivational posters, and in the movie it's overlaid with these vibrant pink handwritten notes from the VHS tapes Maddie is smuggling to Owen. There's a part that feels very much like a David Lynch Twin Peaks homage, and it recalls like those early episodes with scenes inside the Roadhouse bar with this really heavy, atmospheric, moody music, and gives the whole scene this really, well, I mean the whole movie does, but this scene in particular has this really sort of like grounded yet otherworldly feel at the same time. It's a little tough to explain, but I knew nothing about Eric Yu and Jane Sean Brown before this movie, and I will be paying very close attention to whatever it is either or both of them do next. And that's one of the great things. And one of the things I love about movies is finding these artists with unique visions and voices, and seeing what other compelling things that they do. In checking out the reviews, I do know that some people are kind of down on Smith and Lundy Payne's performances, thinking they veered off into almost like self-parody of the whole emo kid thing. But I didn't get that, from them. I mean, as characters, you're dealing with, these two alienated, disaffected, really lost and melancholy people. And I think the performances totally supported that and reflected that. I think they just really make sense here, considering the material. And there is a ton more to this movie. I mean, there are so many layers and so much imagery and metaphor to mine and unpack. It's like this weird, colorful little puzzle box, that's, like sad and hopeful all at the same time. So I really hope that if you haven't seen this movie, you give it a chance, seek it out. I really do think there is so much to get out of it. I think it's a really special film, and I think it's a really special experience having watched it. And check it out. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you soon.